I've tried and failed to learn a handstand hold in the past. So here's 7 things I'm going to do in 2026 to nail that 1-minute handstand. How do you make something old feel fresh? You put a load of paint on her. I feel like there's so much stuff in fitness where you've already been there and tried that your brain is sort of programmed to already get the result that you got before. A lot of strength programs are all the same. It's the same reps and sets. Every diet ever is it's a calorie deficit, right? So, I mean, if you fail at counting macros, maybe, a different approach might work, like intermittent fasting. If it gets you the result, why does it matter? So to me, if it's the same process with a fresh coat of paint, that's cool. If it helps me get over that initial momentum and that brain sort of self-sabotage, then happy days. I'm going to use a few different tricks to help me give that fresh coat of paint. First up then is frequency. I've done quite a few different programs where you do 1 to 2 really concentrated sessions a week. So it might be 30, 40 minutes, something like that. I've used that for getting stronger with a lift, like a squat or a deadlift, for sports like badminton, and also in my handstand training in the past. The problem I always find is, say it's like a 8-week program, you get partway through and you have a holiday or a trip to see family or something, you get sick, you get injured, or you just lose motivation, and then you can't even bring yourself to do that session that week. So then what do you do? Like when you come back, do you pick up where you left off, or do you take it back a couple of weeks and run it from there? If it's supposed to be sort of linear progression, it's a whole minefield. So when I think about things that I got really good at, I think about rowing. Rowing's the best I've ever been at anything. And we did it every single day. And we did it multiple times a day. And then in my current job, when I was learning new software, I made the most progress when I used it every single day. So one of the things I'm doing this time is, instead of doing 1 to 2 epic sessions every week, I'm just going to do a little bite-sized chunk every single day. At the moment, that's like 5 to 10 minutes. And I'm really hoping that some kind of pseudoscience allows me to use that daily exposure to learn the movement faster. But stop. What about injuries, I hear you say? Well, that brings us to variety. I am not just going to try and do a handstand every day. I'm a big dude, and that would be such a nightmare for my wrists, elbows, and shoulders. So I'm going to use a whole mix of different exercises, some on the floor, some head balances, some flexibility and mobility drills, as well as actually getting up on my hands. And that way, over the course of a week, I can cover a lot of ground without overloading those smaller joints. And probably over the course of a week, I'll do the same amount of work, if not slightly more, than I would have done in just those 1 to 2 sessions. Plus, there's a ton of awesome exercises out there. You just scroll through social media and you see some really creative ideas. And that's going to keep things fun and exciting for the next session. If you're working on a goal at the moment, I'd love to hear what that is. And if any of these strategies would work for that goal, stick it down in the comments, let me know. Next up is accountability. I found sharing what I'm doing really good accountability. So 4 people have subscribed as I'm recording this. That's crazy. And somebody commented on one of the videos asking when the next one's coming out. It's just like when you're at the gym, if anybody asks you how you're getting on, progressing, or when you're back in again, it helps keep that momentum going, and it's really motivating. Plus, the sneaky benefit of actually sharing these ideas and things that I've learned is that it helps reinforce the learning, which brings us on to teaching. They say the best way to learn is to teach. And when I was coaching in a gym, I found this was definitely the case. I almost made more progress between my training sessions than I did in my training sessions. I think of movement like a language. And so to teach it or share the idea, I have to visualize the idea and then translate it into English, which means I'm engaging 3 different parts of my brain just to work on one problem. And so to me, that really helps speed up that learning curve. All right, I appreciate your patience so far. I'm going to try and speed roll these last 2. Focused goals. It's pretty easy to get distracted when you're working towards a goal. And so just keeping it super clear, it's a 1-minute handstand hold. I'm not trying to do handstand push-ups, I'm not trying to do handstand walks. It's a hold. Any other goals are steps along the road to that. So first up is going to be 30 seconds, which is double my current hold. And finally, restraint. Not to sound super pretentious, but I got this one from Ernest Hemingway. So he was talking about writing. He said, good reading, JP. The best way is always to stop when you're going good and when you know what will happen next. If you do that every day when you're writing a novel, you'll never be stuck. And I did this as well when I did kids clubs. The idea was to try and stop or to change it up when you're having the most fun. And that way you can't wait to start again. And when you think back to the session, you're like, oh, that was so much fun. My goal then is to try to stop these sessions when I'm having the most fun and just want to keep going. And that's why I'm keeping them aggressively short. And then with all the other ideas I've shared here today, that's going to keep the excitement up and really make me look forward to the next session. I hope you found these useful. Thanks very much for joining me. Hope to see you next time. Bye.